Make sure it's okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. The microphone feels good. I just wanted to call this meeting into order. This is the Cleveland Community Police Commission, the Budget and Grants Committee meeting. It is Monday, June 23rd, and this meeting is starting at 6:23. And we are at the Perkins office. That's 3631 Perkins Avenue, 4th floor. And go ahead and get started. So welcome everybody. I just want to start with a little bit of brief information. Anyone who's been to one of the meetings before, you kind of generally understand. But this meeting of the Cleveland Community Police Commission is a lawful meeting. So under section 60504 of the codified ordinances, no person with purpose to prevent or disrupt the lawful meeting shall do in any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. Members of the public are invited to speak in accordance with the public comment rules. Disruptions including but not limited to speaking out of turn and or making loud utterances that interferes with the due conduct of this lawful meeting may constitute a misdemeanor and a violation of section 60504. If this meeting is disrupted, I will call for a recess and the room will be cleared. Persons who violate the city ordinances and commit misdemeanors may be subject to prosecution. And when this body is able to return from recess, then in compliance with the Ohio Open Meeting Act and section 101021 of the codified ordinances, the meeting will be open to the public. That was a lot. Okay. All right. So thank you all again for being here. So the first thing we wanted to do is just start off with the public comment. And I'm sorry, we'll start off with the roll call. So I guess, Commissioner Mawson, I'm here. And then Commissioner Miller.
Present.
All right, thank you so much. And then Commissioner Rodriguez is absent for today. And so, all right, and so we'll move on to the next thing here. So the next thing, and so we want to approve the minutes from the last meeting, but I don't think, is there anything else we need to do for that? Okay. If anyone hasn't looked at the meeting minutes, we can take a look at the next meeting. Then we also have the co-chair, Dr. Adams, with us, so thank you for being here. And then, then you go to public comment. All right, so the first person that we have on here is Lou. Okay, I see. Thank you. It's Lou. Thank you.
Hello. All right. All right. This is Lou. Originally, I would like to make the comments in the second segment after all your discussion because your discussion today will be very important. However, after you announce the meeting, that particular ordinance, I think I have to make the first comment as well for the first segment. Now, for people to disturb the meeting, what is the guideline for you to determine that? Just because somebody says something you don't like, that doesn't mean it's a disturbance. That doesn't mean it's an interruption. So I hope all of you guys can understand that. Because there are lots of the past meetings we have been struggling with this particular situation. People have different opinions. This is the reason why we have public comments, and preferably first at the beginning and the second one, we can accommodate the people coming late in the meeting as well. So if a police commission wants to suppress public input, just go by your own preference. You like what people said or you don't like what people said, then that doesn't ever actually make anything meaningful to even have the meeting as a public meeting to begin with. So I hope all the people at the meeting today, please keep that in mind. Public comments not always pleasant to hear because people do have different opinions. but please don't take different opinions as interruption or disturbance of the meeting. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Then next we have Terry Wang. Wang.
Thank you. This is former Police Commissioner Terry Wong. I do thank Lou for mentioning what I was already going to say. Mr. Umason, you are quoting things to describe situations where you can deem things as a disruption of meeting that are actually not in the ORC. The ORC and the city charter probably are in violation of First Amendment law. Just so you know, that there are other people that have other activists and other speakers that had to endure this in recent months. So there will be action in this regard. So I would recommend that the commission not participate in the chilling of First Amendment violations, especially when the only reason we have a second public comment period is because Lou and I were targeted by the Cleveland Police, and one of the sergeants is here, Sergeant Cook, and we were falsely cited for criminal trespass on a public meeting. We were alleged to be disrupting the meeting, but we're not cited for that. So I would be very, very careful as to, you are a community commission, this is a public meeting, and you should not be listening to Mr. Noordine or Dr. Adams or Sharina Zayed, because they have been involved in what I estimate to be a criminal conspiracy. And I would hate for you to be further involved in it, or any of the new commissioners. So I am here today to raise some serious concerns about the commission's decision to delegate all of its grant-making authority to the United Black Fund. This move violates the charter and undermines the consent decree. Charter Section 115 gives the commission final authority over its own expenditures, including grants. That power cannot be outsourced to a private entity that operates outside of public oversight. Yet there's been no public vote, no competitive process, and no transparent system for how grants are being awarded under this arrangement. The consent decree likewise requires this commission to engage directly with the community, not funnel public responsibility and public funds to a nonprofit with no public accountability. Paragraph 17 makes it clear this body must be independent, transparent, and community-driven. This grant deal is none of those things. And we also have to ask that this is not about the worth of the United Black Fund, although I will say on record that I have received many complaints about the fiscal responsibility of the United Black Fund. I've taken a look at the 990 forms. They are incomplete, with hundreds, if not millions of dollars of grant-making money that is absent from your IRS statements. So I would caution again the commission. You work for a bank, you have an MBA. I would encourage you to look at those 990 forms before just going on something that Mr. Van Leer orchestrated by himself. So what is happening here is that the commission has been captured. Its discipline is non-existent of police accountability. Its training, its policies are written by the division and rubber stamped by you guys. And now the grant making has been taken over by an entity that works with the city to funnel money to, shall we say, people that they can control that are doing alleged violence interruption. Certainly not Mr. Antoine Tolbert, who still has 7 felony violations because of the inaction, false ones, because of the inaction of this commission in protecting an appellant to the commission. So I'm cautioning right now, you're going into now financial territory. It is very clear that the community asked for you to make the decision, not for United Black Fund to make this decision. That's all I have to say, and I'll wait for you guys to change this process so people that are in the community that don't have these connections to the city and to Mayor Bibb and City Council have a fair chance at $1 million of public grants and money. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is go into the next section here. So we need to elect a committee chair as the next thing. So I want to, on the record, nominate myself, but I know we have to do a vote. So Commissioner Miller, you said what? Okay, she can.
You cannot, I don't think you can nominate yourself. She can
I
nominate.
think you can nominate your, but you don't have a quorum to vote.
You do have a quorum because it's 3 people, so you have a quorum of 2.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Emoson as a chair for the Budget and Grants Committee.
I appreciate that, and I second that. And then, this is us. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I got to call for the vote too.
Yeah.
I vote for myself. I thought I said that.
You
Okay.
have to say it.
Yeah, well, so I vote for myself, Commissioner Mosin, so that's, and then, so you have to vote.
Guess we kind of ring around the road. I'll second it, and yes.
Okay, great. So we're good. All right, well, I appreciate that. So just moving along here for the agenda, the next thing we have, and it's, Celeste Terry from United Black Fund. Thank you so much for being here. So we appreciate that. So we'll go ahead and, move it to you as far as the, 2024 grant status and updates.
Yes, you all have had the time to review everything, so tonight I am just here just to share some information where I looked through the applications, and I just wanted to kind of share where some of the applications were falling and which wards seem to be the predominant ones for the applications. It looks like Ward 5 has 8. The next ward behind that is Ward 1. We have some applications for Ward 4, Ward 6, Ward 7, and Ward 12. I would say probably with Ward 5, that's Councilman Richard Starr's ward, because it's centrally located, and we tend to find a lot of the organizations located in that area, or they tend to be located in Councilman Jones's area. So I just wanted to just kind of share where some of the applications were coming from, so you could begin to see that. And then once the vote comes this evening, what we are preparing to do is to have a informational meeting for the new awardees on June 30th, which will be an all-day informational meeting. And we're doing this because this process is new to a lot of the grantees, and so we want to provide information about the reimbursement process and just really educate them on this process so they are a bit more clear going for the next round. So we plan to do that on June 30th.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I just, through the chair, wanted to know if you could maybe highlight maybe some grantees, kind of, I think what the public would want, and maybe some commissioners would want, even the ones that are not here, is basically to kind of know sort of how you made the selections that you made, the process that you went through.
Sure. Sure. We've been here at other meetings to share that with the commission, but we follow the process that we use for our own application process. So we have a scoring rubric that we have, and then we use that to get the first round to make sure that the scores are at 40. And for applications that reach a score of 40, then we move those to site visits. And then from there, we do the site visits, and then we come back and then determine which organizations would go forward. And then we look at the amounts that would be awarded. So it's quite an extensive process, and we do use a scoring rubric to come to those decisions. And I would say, for example, one of the organizations we found, which was a unique one, was called Rivers in the Desert. It's a mobile sort of mental health unit. And so they actually go into the communities and provide mental health services. We found that to be unique because a lot of times barriers to transportation are issues to people to get to appointments that are usually on the other side of town or usually far away from where they live. And so we particularly thought Rivers in the Desert was a great organization because they go right to the people in the communities that oftentimes a lot of people don't want to go into. So that's one for mental health. We did come up against another one called Road Gold, which I thought was very interesting because when you're dealing with violence prevention, you also want to have opportunities to bring to people. And so Road Gold is a program which will be teaching people how to get their license for the trucking industry. And so it was great because there's another organization, Coalition for Clergy, which also provides transportation and workforce training for people in the Miles area, but they use the vans from church vans to get the people to jobs out in Twinsburg and, where a lot of the manufacturing companies are. And so it was great because I can see partnering them together because there are people in that program who might want to, get a trucking license as well. And so there are a variety of programs that are mental health, a lot dealing with teens and youth, but we do have some programs also that are targeted to adults as well. So I think we have a great combination of a lot.
That's one more question.
Sure.
Do you have a breakdown of how many are in each category? Like how many are roughly violence prevention?
Sure.
How many are restorative justice, and how
Yes.
many are mediation programs?
Yes, so 29 are in violence prevention, which is the largest category. 8 fall into restorative justice, and there are 4 in mediation.
All right, thank you for that.
We've already asked. Can you set this? Can you set this?
And I did have a question as far as, or just I wanted to clarify. You said that it was Ward 5, correct? For everyone listening, that Ward 5 had the most.
Yes,
Grantees.
for the applications that I went through. And what we're also learning is sometimes the grantees don't know which ward they're in. So that's going to be part of the informational meeting to help them understand that. But for the applications that were defining the wards, Ward 5 seemed to be the ward that had the largest applications, which was 8, followed by Ward 1, which had 5, coming from that ward and servicing that particular area.
And then also, I know that when we go to council, they often ask us which grantees are in which wards. Do you think that you can compile that list? So like when you create the list, include what ward they're in, because
Yes.
the council people say that they like to maybe just know what programs are in their ward, so they may want to work with them or
Absolutely.
whatever. But I think that'd be helpful too.
Yes, absolutely. We plan to do that for you.
All right, thank you so much.
So I think we can move to the motion, and then I think as a member of the committee, we'll have Commissioner Miller read the motion.
Whereas Charter 115-5 identifies that making grants to community-based violence prevention, restorative justice, and mediation programs to reduce the need of police activity is one of the Community Police Commission's responsibility. Whereas on July 1st, 2024, the Community Commission voted 11-0 to hire the United Black Fund, UBF, to manage the CPC grant program. Now therefore, the commission revolves as follows: that the list of organizations selected by the UBF to receive awards of the CPC's 24 grant cycle be approved. I apologize, I have readers on, and they're new. That is the motion that I'm going to put forward. Sorry.
All right, and I second that. All right, just want to open it up for discussion. All right, since no discussion, we can do a vote. All right, so Commissioner Miller.
Mayor Pro,
All right, and I do as well. So the motion is passed.
Motion passes. And then this motion will come to the full commission meeting on Wednesday.
All right, so now we can move on to our second public comment.
Where is my, here it is. Oh, you have mine.
All right, we just have this committee meeting finished in speedy speed. However, I really cannot understand. First of all, I believe there are lots of good programs they apply for the funding. But unfortunately, the people right now in the room, the two commissioners, you are both new. So do you really think committee member would really should assume you actually studied all these programs before you came to the meeting to vote?
Yes.
Well, you actually do it or not is a different thing from public perspective. Okay? In the first segment of the public comments, former Commissioner Terry Wang already mentioned certain things. If you actually did your homework, then you actually should put on some discussion. For example, this committee has not been in session for a long time. So lots of community members may not understand why certain programs fit in the criteria. It will be good since you guys did the homework, and if you guys had a discussion, it will make the whole thing more transparent, which you did not do. Of course, I know we cannot reverse back to discussion, but I would suggest we should do a better practice than what we did this time. Because now, one of the program, I definitely appreciate that because I've been participating in something else rather than the police commission about people getting their truck driver license. That's a good thing to do to help people to get on a decent job, to make, their earned hardworking salary or wage. That's a good thing. But lots of people probably cannot understand why that program fits what the consent decree asks for. So if you had a good discussion about that, then people will understand it. I hope next time you will actually make that clear. Otherwise, we do not really have the transparency to believe that you are accountable for any of these decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so what a stunning, it's like I say something without even knowing what's gonna happen, and it happens because it's so predictable. I appreciate the two discussions of two organizations that got the grants. From what you're describing, Ms. Terry, I think that they are good organizations that are doing good work, but they hardly meet the criteria that is given in the Charter for Restorative Justice, Violence Prevention, and Mediation. I'm failing to see that, especially the Rivers in the Desert. It just had its formal launch in March of 2025. It's a completely new organization founded by somebody who used to be a Maple Heights City Council person. So, but we don't have any information about these grants, and they're just voting on it. So, the commission now claims it has discussed grant decisions. You just claimed that on record, including the delegation of all funding authority to the United Black Fund behind closed doors. Closed doors doesn't mean it's in secret, it just means that it's not in public. This is not just bad practice, it likely violates Ohio law. Under the Ohio Open Meetings Act, no public body, including this commission, can deliberate or decide on public expenditures in secret. There's no exemption in state law that allows financial decisions to be made in executive session. That means any action taken behind closed doors, whether to pick a grantee or outsource public money to a private nonprofit, is likely illegal and void. It also violates City Charter 115.5 because the commission has final authority over its budget. That means grant decisions must be made by this body in public with public input and a public vote. So while I appreciate Commissioner Miller saying that she looked at all the grants and decided all these things, the public would like you to have a public discussion because we don't even know who the grant the grants are being given to, being given to, but there's no vote, no list of funded organizations, no opportunity for the public to weigh in. Maybe some people know about these organizations and have dissent. That is a breach of both the charter and the consent decree, which demands transparency, independence, and community engagement. So this is about whether the commission continues to flout the law. Are you going to honor the public's trust? And please look at me when I'm speaking, because this is actually important. Instead of avoiding eye contact, you will not do that because you know that what you're doing is wrong. This is not, no, you are behaving like a child because you're not following the law, Ms. Miller.
Excuse me.
You are.
Almost on the outbreak. Could you back up?
I don't need to back up, you have a
You're
table.
speaking.
So I'm speaking to you, I'm allowed to speak to you on public comment, especially when you're violating law. And if you cannot stand people telling you that you're violating law, then maybe you should leave this commission. Smile about it, yes. I'm sure you're gonna get paid very well for what you're doing on this commission. So I'm calling for a full investigation by the DOJ, the monitoring team, the city's legal department. The commission must immediately disclose all records related to this process and bring its grant making back into public view where it belongs. You cannot call yourselves a body for accountability or the public while hiding from the very people
All
you're
right,
supposed
that's
to serve.
time. Thank you so much. And with that, that was the last thing on our agenda, so this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Mr. Wilson, work for me, not. Yes, he doesn't have it. You're not, Mr. Motion to work for a bank. Then you understand fiduciary like duty and loss more than anybody. You have an MBA.